clean food, air, water, and soil. She's testified in many hearings and lobbied for legislation. Currently, she encourages people to plant pollinator pathways, turn lawns into vegetable gardens, and grow food everywhere. She motivates and empowers, to learn, compassionate communication, to make choices to support environmental justice, and create a healthier world for all of our children. Laurie, thank you so much for being here.
It's an honor to be a part of this group. I thank you all for this opportunity. It's a little long, but these things have been in my heart for decades, and I'm glad to have a place to share them. Buttonhooks should be preserved for many reasons. Forests purify the air and filter water, which makes it cleaner and healthier to drink. Most importantly, Buttonhook is a sacred indigenous site, which is the focus of my presentation. When I was 10 years old, I met an indigenous person for the first time. I have always felt a deep connection to their land-based way of life. I have watched as they pick herbs or food and offer prayers of gratitude to the plant for giving them sustenance. First Nations indigenous people know how to care for the members of their community, as well as the water, the land, the air, and the plants that provide food and medicine. Chiefs are chosen because they are observed for years to see how they care for their community members, not because they want to be the leader. Women are involved in decision-making. Elders are respected. When members of the community gather, they sit in circles as everyone's voice matters. When I learned American history, I thought that the atrocities committed were done before my relatives arrived. However, I was outraged and deeply saddened to learn of many examples which show that the prejudice, disregard, and harm continue to this day. This is unfortunate, as our world would be less polluted and more life-enhancing if we learned from, cherished, and incorporated the teachings of the First Nations people. Environmental advocacy can be difficult and lead to exhaustion. When I have worked on issues with First Nations people, they share that they have no choice but to do this work. They are water protectors, as they know water is necessary to sustain life. Without water, there is no life, and so water is sacred. They feel it is their responsibility to protect the water for all, those who crawl, who fly, who swim, as well as the four-legged and two-leggeds. They consider the impact of their actions on all living beings for the next 7 generations. Uninvited settlers, motivated by profits, have continuously made decisions which pollute streams, the air we breathe, causing contamination, suffering, illness, and premature death. Native American sites are destroyed and then given Native American names. A question that environmentalists often ask among themselves is, do businessmen and politicians realize that their children and grandchildren need clean air and clean water? Many people have asthma. We run to the doctor and hope for a cure, but do we ever stop to realize the harm of pollution? Do we work to protect the forests? Throughout my life, I had wondered, if I had been a victim of colonial oppression, how could I begin to forgive? What would promote healing and reconciliation? To repair the harm that we collectively are responsible for, we have to start now to practice right action. The Chappaqua School District has a choice: to continue to do what this country has done for centuries, or it can choose to take a different, principled action, one that honors, respects, and shows reverence for indigenous sacred sites and ways of being on the land. A decision to protect this site will leave an everlasting legacy to the school, the town, and future generations. We call on the school district to put principle over profit. I am very grateful to have been able to express feelings that have been in my heart for decades. I appreciate each of you who came today, who have donated, who have worked tirelessly to ensure that this precious land is protected. Remember, we are each a spoke on a wheel. Each person here has a role to play. Together, let's save Buttonwood Forest.